Okay. So did you witness the actual shooting?
I was not in the building.
Okay.
No, I ran out of the room I was in. I heard the gunshots from the building, and I saw police cars, and I ran to the auditorium and hid for my life.
A separate building.
Separate building. The 1200s building, the building that the shooting was actually in, is a separate building from most of the school. I'm a freshman, so most of my classes actually happen to be in that building. But thank God I was not there in that exact moment. I'm very thankful for my life. I can't imagine what a lot of students might be going through having to watch a classmate die in front of them. It's something that I don't think anyone ever wants their kid to go through, and I don't think anyone wants themselves to have to go through. So I didn't witness it, but it's even for those who didn't witness it, it's affected our community tragically. It's made going, for example, just to go to the bathroom, you're filled with anxiety. You're scared. You don't want to leave class. You don't want to sit next to the door. You don't want to sit next to the window. You're afraid of these things, even if our school is now surrounded by police, but even if they are there, you still have these fears, irrational or not, that are just embedded in you because of what you had to go through. When I was in the auditorium, they had cops banging open every door and screaming just to make sure they were clearing rooms, but it was still terrifying not knowing if maybe there was going to be someone in there, or maybe the shooter was going to come to the auditorium, which was filled with people. You know, all logic leaves your mind and you just fear for your life because you could die. And that's a realization I hope no one ever has to come to ever again.
Did you hear any rumors about a second shooter from any students?
Yeah, so that...
Any merit in that?
The thing with that is I think that was just a byproduct of confusion. There are cameras in the building. We would be able to see, and I'm sure their conspiracy lies in the trust of those who are reporting that. I don't really have a say on that, but for a period of time, cops did the rumor around the kids was that there were two shooters. But that's simply, I think, because of the conclusion. Maybe a kid saw one person here, thought it looked different. So maybe a kid saw him somewhere else, thought he looked different. Confusion. I know the police thought there were two shooters maybe for a period of time, but that's how a lot of things happen, actually, where they don't know the amount of people who are there. They mistake it for more or less just because of the amount of damage that's being done or reports where they are. You know, if a teacher in the third floor of the building heard a gunshot, she might think it's outside her hallway, therefore reporting it to being outside her hallway, and a teacher in the bottom he's actually on the floor will report it to her floor. So I don't think these really have any merit, simply because of the fact that with released video footage and all that, we definitely would know by now, and I'm not one to believe in big government conspiracy cover-ups.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys have actual drills? I heard something about you guys did some type of
thing about
active
that.
shooter drills at the school.
We prepared. We already had talks. Cops came to our school, talked to the teachers, gave them a conference. Then the teachers talked to us about the whole issue. We were told to lock the doors, thank God. But before that point, we had already gone over locking the doors because so much more damage would have been done if a lot of teachers who didn't usually lock the door had not had their door locked. We were actually supposed to have an active shooter drill, which was why for a lot of people, they thought it was a drill. I know the first teacher that was hit, she's my English teacher, Miss Haas, and she thought it was a drill. She went over, briskly just walked to the window, closed the blinds, thought it was a drill, until she noticed one of her students was actually shot and hurt and bleeding. And so we definitely were told, we were prepared the most we could, but being prepared the most you can does not stop a man with evil intention from hurting who he wants to hurt, especially a man with an AR-15 nonetheless.
What was the time frame from the last drill to when it actually happened, you would say?
The last drill was probably a month prior. We had been talking about everything in terms of preparation. It was fresh in our minds. We had whole class periods devoted just to talking about this issue. Kids were really confused because they had heard from their friends, oh, there's a shooter drill, while the fire alarm was pulled again. I don't know if you know that, but the fire alarm went off again after we already had a fire drill that morning, which was unusual because we already had a fire drill that morning.
The morning of the shooting, there was a fire drill?
Yes, there was a fire drill the morning of the shooting, and later that day we had the fire drill, so we just thought it was either another fire drill or maybe the culinary classroom had burned some food. The usual stuff. This happens sometimes, right? No one ever imagined it could be what it was, and no one was ready for what it was.